Dear friend, it is very important that you pay close attention to this second story, as it has the potential to become an extremely valuable source for your life over the years. I sincerely hope that you find personal growth and success in the lessons that are about to be presented. The narrative I'm going to share now is about leaving everything behind in a period of just 7 days. Once, a man living in poverty approached a Buddhist monk expressing his concern. "Master, I am very distressed about my habits. I want to achieve many things in life, but I don't really feel like I can do anything. My great dream is to become a successful person, but I feel totally limited by my current habits. To be honest, I don't even know what characteristics or skills I need to develop in order to achieve the success I'm aiming for. That's why I'm here, looking for guidance and learning about these qualities. Please help me." The monk, in his wisdom, replied, "Just as we are restricted by bad habits, if we decide to adopt good habits, we will also be guided by them. These positive habits will give us the ability to achieve great things in our lives. Today, I'm going to share with you a list of 15 habits that can turn you into a successful man or woman. Remember not to forget what I'm telling you. Keep these habits in your mind and start gradually incorporating them into your life, because they will not only bring you success, but will also make you a person of great value. You will become someone so admirable that other people will say they want to be like you." The first habit I'd like to highlight is getting up early in the morning. If I had to choose a single habit that I consider to be the most powerful among all successful people, it would definitely be getting up early and letting go of the laziness that often prevents us from taking action. When you start your activities before the first light of dawn, you gain a significant level of self-confidence, overcome lethargy, and come to believe that there is no challenge you can't overcome. The way you get up in the morning reveals a lot about your willpower and how important it is for achieving your goals. Getting up early implies more effort and dedication to work, which will certainly make you more successful compared to the other people around you. If you have a habit of waking up late, I suggest you start getting used to getting up just 5 minutes earlier. Over the course of a few days, you'll notice that you start waking up early naturally, without any additional effort. The second habit I want to discuss is the importance of always learning something new. This is a wonderful habit that can be observed in all the people who have achieved success in their respective fields. It's essential to keep delving deeper into your work. The knowledge you acquire throughout your life will always come in handy at some point. Successful people use a variety of different methods to achieve their dreams and have an insatiable thirst to know everything related to their goals, as this makes it much easier to achieve them. Knowledge is widely available in the world, but you should always be motivated and eager to learn in the area in which you want to succeed. There is a possibility that you will discover something that expands your skills beyond what you had previously imagined, so it is important to approach learning with the curiosity and excitement of a child. The third habit I'm going to mention is the practice of talking less and listening more. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and this should remind us that we should listen more than we talk. Those who dedicate themselves to listening never lose out and always enrich their knowledge through the interactions they have with other people. When you talk less, you give yourself the opportunity to absorb much more of what is around you. Learning from others and understanding situations better before expressing your own opinion is fundamental. By listening more, you pick up on details that you might have missed when you were too busy expressing yourself. This contributes to you becoming a much better communicator, since when you speak, your words are more considered and carry more weight. In addition, speaking less means that you waste less energy, don't get too involved with people, and avoid showing weakness in front of anyone. It's important to avoid unnecessary arguments. A person who talks less is better able to reflect deeply, as they are more connected to their inner self. Your innermost thoughts are so powerful that they can actually attract any success in your life. Listening more than talking also helps you build stronger relationships, both personally and professionally. People really appreciate it when you show a genuine interest in what they have to say, which in turn improves trust and mutual respect, positioning you as someone who values the opinions and experiences of others. This is essential in leadership and in building strong, cohesive teams. The fourth habit I'd like to touch on is the ability to learn to disagree and say no when necessary. We are not puppets who simply agree with everything others say. Each of us is a unique person, and our dreams, desires, and principles are different. If your destiny is different, then the path you must follow will also be different. And if there's something you don't like, that doesn't mean you should follow that direction just because it works for others. It's not true that what works for others will work for you too. If you decide to adopt the same method as other people, you'll end up becoming just like them. Remember that you are the most unique person in this world, and there is no one like you. Therefore, you have every right to disagree and express your opinion, as well as saying no to everything that isn't in line with your purpose. If you don't feel comfortable going out with your friends, learn to say no to them. It's important to remember that you are in charge of your life and should act according to your convictions and desires. You want to be an entrepreneur, not follow the path of agriculture. Tell your family clearly that your goal is to be an entrepreneur and not to work on the land. Obligations imposed by others or by circumstances are not forever, and often these responsibilities bring no real benefit to you or your life. Learning to say no is a crucial skill that everyone should develop. This is because by refusing something, you may even displease other people, but you will protect yourself from situations that are not in your interest or that do not benefit your personal and professional growth. Often, by saying no, you run the risk of being seen as a difficult person or of being misunderstood. However, this is irrelevant compared to the fact that you are not going against your own principles and values. The biggest mistake many people make is letting go of their true aspirations for fear of others' judgment, and this is what prevents many of them from accomplishing anything of real value in their lives. By living in fear of what others will think, you end up dedicating your existence to pleasing others and, in the process, forget about yourself, the most important person of all. The fifth habit, then, is to learn to take risks properly and strategically. The biggest risk a person can take in life is actually not taking any risk at all. Lack of action in pursuit of what really matters or in the name of your beliefs makes life feel empty and purposeless. If you don't take risks to achieve what you believe to be meaningful, you're not only wasting precious time, but you're also running the risk of being stuck in the same situation forever without moving forward. The fear of making mistakes, of failing, is what stops many people from trying. However, true success comes to those who allow themselves to fail, learn, and continue. So get rid of the fear of taking risks and, along with it, the fear of being criticized. Let go of the fear of what others might say, of being laughed at, judged, or scorned. Every minute of investment, whether of time or energy, as long as it is done with conviction, will be valuable and will bring results. Over the course of a lifetime, a person's basic needs come down to just three things: food, clothing, and a place to live. Achieving these things is relatively simple, but your mission in life must be much greater. The aim is to reach the end of your journey as someone who has fought bravely, overcoming challenges. Thus, like a warrior, you will face obstacles, make courageous decisions, win battles, and, one day, reach your destination with your head held high. Take risks for the right reasons. Well-calculated risks are the ones you'll never regret taking, but missed opportunities, those are the ones you'll regret throughout your life. The sixth habit is to learn to really know yourself, to understand who the person is with whom you will spend the next 60 or 80 years of your existence yourself. It's amazing how most people don't spend enough time reflecting on themselves, their choices, their mistakes, and their successes. Self-knowledge is the key to personal and professional success. How often do you really stop to think about who you are, your past mistakes, what you could do to improve the present, and what you want for your future? It's essential to take a moment every day, even for 10 minutes, to do some deep self-analysis. During this time, reflect on your path, where you came from, where you are now in life, and where you are heading. What do you really want to achieve? What is the biggest challenge you're facing? What's stopping you from getting there? Nobody knows you better than you know yourself. If anyone can fully understand your feelings, your anxieties and your joys, it's you. That's why it's essential that you dedicate time every day, free from distractions, to connect with yourself. No books, social media or work, just you and your thoughts, in a space of reflection. During this time, talk to yourself, analyze your attitudes, and try to understand deeply what you really want and what you can do to improve. The seventh habit is to learn to make decisions quickly and act immediately. How many things have you put off so far? How many times have you known you needed to make a decision but chosen to put it off? This is because people often find it difficult to make decisions, especially when they are unclear about what they really want. Perhaps you're uncertain about whether or not to continue in a relationship, or you're in doubt about whether you should start your own business or continue working for someone else. These questions are common, but putting off thinking about them can harm you in the long run. What you need is to learn to make decisions more quickly and assertively. It's better to make a decision and learn from your mistakes than to decide nothing and remain stuck in the same place. Once you've made a decision, commit to acting on it immediately. It's no good just deciding and not putting the plan into practice. Successful people usually make decisions in a matter of minutes and are then already working on them. If you made a decision at 8 in the morning, by 8:10 you should already be acting as planned. To achieve great things, you need to take great actions, and that starts with the ability to act quickly and with determination. The eighth habit that can transform your life is learning to use your time intelligently. Time is the only resource that never stops, never slows down, and which, once lost, cannot be recovered. Whatever is happening in your life today, you have to face it. There's no running away or putting it off. Life takes its course, and it's up to you to learn to go with the flow and move forward, devoting time and energy to what really matters to you. Those who fall behind in the race against time, no matter how hard they try, will never be able to make up for lost time. Those who are asleep are missing out on opportunities, while those who are awake and paying attention are winning. From the moment we are born, time begins to count. Therefore, every second is valuable and should not be wasted. Use your time to pursue your goals and to get to know yourself better so that you can make the best possible use of your life. The ninth habit is learning to filter and avoid unnecessary complications. We all have a limited amount of time and energy. If we waste these resources on problems and distractions that don't add value, we'll end up dispersing our energy and never be able to focus on the things that really matter. One of the most common mistakes people make is trying to get involved in everything and everyone, which only divides their attention and prevents them from dedicating themselves to the tasks that really matter. Delegate the non-essential tasks that other people can easily do for you, directing all your energy and time to what really makes a difference and has an impact on your life. By focusing on what is essential, you maximize your results and achieve your goals more quickly and efficiently. The 10th habit you should adopt is to get away from people who have a negative mindset and surround yourself with people who think positively and constructively. People who have a negative view of the world around them tend to sap your energy, causing your own thoughts and attitudes to become negative too, which ends up affecting your productivity and well-being. That's why it's essential to avoid the company of such people. On average, we spend most of our time with 5 people, and this influences who we are and how we think. In other words, the 5 people you spend the most time with end up shaping your mentality, your habits, and even your success. The influence of these people is immense. If you surround yourself with people who see flaws and problems in everything around them, it's essential to get away from them immediately. These people seem to find dissatisfaction in every situation, complaining about the heat in summer, wishing for rain when it's sunny, and even when conditions are perfect, they find reasons to complain. They are never really happy, and as well as damaging their own happiness, they also have a negative impact on others around them. We all have the right to live a life of freedom and positive thoughts. You deserve that too. So don't let negative thoughts take over your mind. Avoid phrases like, "I'm always unlucky," or "these things only happen to me." Great winners in any area of life saw within themselves a version of success, and throughout their journey, completely ignored the words and opinions of negative people. Don't waste your time associating with people who don't believe in you or your potential, because they won't achieve anything, and consequently, you won't gain anything from being around them either. The 11th habit, which is extremely important for your progress, is to make a habit of writing down every good idea that comes into your head. This can be done on a piece of paper, in a notebook, or even in a note on your cell phone. Our brains are constantly creating new ideas, some of which can be real treasures of innovation and creativity, but if you don't record them immediately, there's a good chance that these ideas will disappear from your memory forever. What's more, if you have a plan or a project in mind, it's crucial to put it in writing. It's not enough just to keep the plan in your mind. By writing it down, you can better visualize what needs to be done and organize your actions more clearly and objectively. Write down your goals, the things you want to achieve, the habits you want to adopt, and even the habits you want to eliminate. When we write down our thoughts and plans, the burden of having to remember them all the time diminishes, and this frees up our minds to think of new ideas, creative solutions, and more efficient strategies for achieving our goals. The 12th habit involves taking care of your physical and mental health, as well as adopting a more altruistic and conscious lifestyle. Eating moderately, paying attention to digestion, and choosing healthy foods is the first step. In addition, daily practices such as pranayama, which involves controlled breathing techniques, regular physical exercise, and meditation, are fundamental to maintaining the balance between body and mind. These practices not only keep the body in good shape, but also increase self-esteem and bring a sense of general well-being. With a healthy body and a balanced mind, you'll have more disposition and energy to pursue your dreams, face challenges, and achieve your goals. The first great happiness anyone can achieve is a healthy body and mind. The 13th habit, which is often underestimated, is to always keep yourself in a good mood and with a smile on your face. No one likes to be in the company of someone who is always complaining or criticizing everything around them. This is because we all have our own problems and challenges to deal with, and no one wants to add to their emotional burden by living with someone who only brings negativity. So make the effort to smile. The simple act of smiling can convey a message of hope and positivity to others. Maybe your smile is exactly what someone needs to relieve their pain or worry. Smiling doesn't mean that you need to be laughing all the time, but rather that you choose to see the positive side of life and be grateful for what you have. Think of all the good things you've already achieved, and if something is still missing, know that you have the ability to work to fill that void with your own actions. The 14th habit is to develop a responsible financial attitude. This means, first of all, always spending less than you earn. Many people fall into the trap of spending more than they can afford, either to maintain an appearance of success or to satisfy momentary desires, and end up entangled in a cycle of debt and financial difficulties. To avoid this, it is essential to look for honest ways to increase your income, live within your means, and above all, save for the future. Saving money is a way of ensuring security and peace of mind when you need it most. What's more, an excellent way to invest your money is in developing new skills that can increase your sources of income in the long term. The 15th habit, which should be practiced daily, is to be a good and responsible person, not only towards yourself, but also towards others. There are many ways to help the people around you, whether it's relieving their difficulties, offering a friendly word, or even helping those in need financially. A truly successful individual doesn't just measure their success by personal achievements, but also by the positive impact they have on their community, their country, and the world. So as well as seeking your own success, look for ways to contribute to the well-being of others. Do good deeds, help those in need, and be an example of kindness and responsibility in society. The Buddhist monk explained that by adopting these 15 habits in your life, you will not only achieve personal success, but you will also become an inspiration to others. The man looking for answers thanked the monk for his teachings and went on his way with a new perspective. Now let's begin our third story. Many years ago, in a small town, there lived an extremely cunning thief. One day he decided that, in order to gain respect among the people, he needed to go to the capital and demonstrate his skill. With this goal in mind, he headed for the big city. When he arrived, he began to wander the streets, observing what he could steal. After analyzing his options, he decided to start with the king's palace. The palace, however, was heavily guarded, with guards stationed day and night at every corner. It wasn't easy to break into such a well-guarded place, where not even a bird could enter unnoticed. The palace also had a huge clock that chimed every hour, day and night. The thief, always resourceful, took some iron nails with him. When the clock struck midnight, he began to drive a nail into the palace wall with each chime. In this way, without making any noise, he managed to nail 12 nails into the wall. Using the nails as support, he climbed over the wall, entered the palace, and went straight to the royal treasury. There, he stole some diamonds and left undetected. The next day, when the theft was discovered, the ministers immediately informed the king. The king, surprised and furious at what had happened, ordered the number of guards to be doubled to prevent anything like this from happening again. Patrolling the streets of the city, a warning was given publicly. Anyone found wandering at night would be arrested on suspicion of being a thief. The city was on high alert due to the increase in criminal activity, and the court was determined to put an end to the wave of thefts. However, the thief, always one step ahead, was present in court, but no one knew it. He was disguised as a simple civilian, which allowed him to uncover the authorities' entire plan. He listened attentively as the court discussed the details, including the selection of 26 guards responsible for watching over the city at night. As soon as he heard this, he sneaked back to his house, already formulating his next cunning plan. Determined to use the knowledge he had acquired to his advantage, the thief came up with a brilliant idea. He disguised himself as a saint, a respected and trusted figure, and went out to visit the wives of the selected guards. All the women were excited and hopeful that their husbands would capture the criminal that night and receive the generous reward offered by the king. Each of them longed for their husband's recognition, but they were completely oblivious to what the thief was planning. One by one, he visited them, as if he were doing spiritual readings, foreseeing the future in their hands. He assured each of them that that night would be extremely promising, as their husbands would finally capture the dreaded thief who haunted the town. However, the false saint warned them with an important recommendation. He told them not to let the thief into their homes at all, as he was dangerous and could attack them. In addition, he instructed them to lock all the doors, and even if they heard their husbands' voices calling from outside, to throw hot coals on them to ensure that the criminal was stopped. The wives, confident in the saint's advice, followed the instructions to the letter, without telling their husbands about the plan. Meanwhile, the guards, completely unaware of what was going on, went out to patrol the streets, determined to find the thief. They stood guard until 4 in the morning, on the lookout for any sign of suspicious movement. However, the city was quiet, and they began to believe that the thief would not appear that night. Exhausted and frustrated, they decided to return home. When they arrived, they were greeted with suspicion by their wives, who, following the saint's advice, believed that the thief might be disguised as their own husbands. The women immediately began the procedure suggested by the saint, and without hesitation started throwing coals on the men. The guards, taken by surprise, cried out in pain and had great difficulty convincing their wives that they were really their husbands. With their burns, they were rushed to hospital, where they underwent treatment. The next day, the confusion was brought to the attention of the king, who was extremely concerned about the situation. He ordered the chief of police to take personal responsibility for catching the thief that night, believing that only a high-ranking authority would be able to deal with the cunning criminal. The police chief, armed with determination, began patrolling the city as soon as the sun went down. While on his rounds, he came across a young man who claimed to be the thief. The police chief, believing that the young man was joking, laughed and replied that if he really was the thief, he should accompany him to prison. The young man, however, replied calmly, "And what would that change for me?" The police chief, intrigued, decided to take him to the place where the prisoners were kept, and when they got there, the young man asked for an explanation of how the cage worked. Suspicious, the chief hesitated, but the thief convinced him, saying, "I gave myself up of my own free will. Why would I try to escape now?" Convinced by the young man's words, the police chief decided to demonstrate how the cage worked, putting his own hands and feet inside to show the mechanism. As soon as he had done so, the thief quickly locked the cage, leaving the chief trapped. Before leaving, the thief laughed and said, "Goodbye, have a good night." It was a particularly cold winter's night, and the police chief was trapped in the cage until dawn. When the first rays of sunlight appeared, the soldiers found him almost frozen and took him to hospital. The next day, during the court hearing, the whole story was told to the king, who was deeply impressed by the thief's audacity. Determined to resolve the situation himself, the king decided that he would go out to patrol the city the following night. Once again, the thief was present in court and heard the king's entire plan. When night came, the thief once again disguised himself as a saint and settled down by a fire under a tree on the edge of town. The king, on his rounds, passed him twice without noticing anything unusual. On the third occasion, he decided to ask the saint if he had seen anyone suspicious passing by. The saint, in a meditative tone, said that he was concentrating on his prayer and that if someone had passed by, he wouldn't have noticed. He then offered the king the chance to sit with him and observe the movement. The king, sensing an opportunity, suggested that they change clothes so that the saint could patrol in the king's place, while he, in disguise, waited for the thief. After much insistence, the thief, disguised as a saint, accepted the proposal. As soon as he had changed clothes with the king, he got on the royal horse and went straight to the palace, where he took advantage of the comfort of the king's bedroom and slept peacefully all night. Meanwhile, the king, now in disguise, kept his vigil until dawn without seeing anyone. When the clock struck 4 in the morning, the king decided to return to the palace. When he arrived, the guards, believing that the king was already inside the palace, mistook him for an impostor. Without hesitation, they arrested him and threw him in a cell, ignoring his cries and pleas for help. It wasn't until dawn that the chief of the guard recognized the king and, terrified, immediately released him, asking for forgiveness. The king, furious, returned to the palace, where he found the thief, who had spent the night resting comfortably in the royal bedroom. When the first rays of sunlight appeared, the thief was already prepared for his next escape. Saul managed to escape from the palace, taking with him the king's royal robes and his horse. The next day, when the king finally arrived at his court, he was visibly despondent and worried. To try to turn the situation around, he made an important announcement. If the thief who had robbed him came before him, he would be forgiven. There would be no punitive action and, what's more, he would receive a reward for his cunning and courage. The thief, who was present among the crowd, decided to come forward and firmly declared, "Your Majesty, it is I who have committed the crime." To prove his claim, he showed everything he had stolen from the palace, including the royal robes and the horse, which were of great value. The king, impressed by the thief's audacity, decided to reward him and made him promise not to steal any more. In this way, the thief was able to live a life of happiness and peace. This story teaches us a valuable lesson. A person's intelligence and cunning can indeed turn the most difficult and adverse situations into great opportunities for success and fulfillment. However, it is essential that this intelligence is used for the good of humanity and for personal growth and improvement. When this happens, the person's life can be filled with joy and achievement. So, my friend, I hope you've enjoyed the story we're sharing today and that you've learned something meaningful from it. Feel free to tell us in the comments what you learned from this video, and don't hesitate to share this story with your family, friends, or loved ones, so that everyone can benefit from this valuable knowledge. If you like this video, don't forget to leave your like. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so right now. We look forward to seeing you in the next story. Until then, take care, and thank you very much for your attention.